The Arbiter's quest begins its careful descent into the planet's volatile atmosphere, where acid rain and glowing lakes threaten to consume anything unprotected. The landscape unfolds below like an alien inferno, and my sensors ping with lifeforms scattered across the jagged terrain. Goblin-like creatures busily harvesting minerals despite the hostile environment. Dax hums as the ship stabilizes. Atmospheric conditions extreme but manageable, Dax reports. Lifeforms detected. We are being scanned. The initial contact request is transmitted across the comms, carrying the familiar greeting of peaceful intent. I hold my breath, waiting for the response that will open the door to this perilous yet promising world ruled by the formidable figure waiting below. The mission has begun. The Arbiter's quest settled into a precarious landing on a jagged platform, its surface scorched and slick from the constant acid drizzle. The ship's shielding crackled faintly against the corrosive mist as I prepped for first contact. Outside, shadowy figures loomed near the edge of the platform, small stocky shapes cloaked in makeshift coverings, their gear etched with glowing mineral fragments. Goblins, unmistakably, though unlike any I'd ever imagined. Dax's lens swiveled toward me, flickering with caution. "Captain, I detect multiple life forms approaching. Their movement suggests urgency." "Stay alert, Dax," I murmured, straightening my posture as I strode to the main hatch. The airlock hissed as it opened, releasing a brief, acrid gust of atmosphere into the ship. I descended the ramp and the delegation waited. 5 goblins clad in rusted yet ornate armor that shimmered faintly under the acid rain. At their center stood the tallest of them, though still just a head above my waist. His shoulders were draped in a crystalline mantle, sharp and jagged, like the world he belonged to. The leader stepped forward and spoke, his voice gravelly yet clear, rising above the sizzle of falling rain. "Offworlder, why have you come to this cursed place?" I inclined my head respectfully, mindful of their severe tone. "I am Captain Elara Voss of the Arbiter's Quest. I have come in peace to seek dialogue with your people, and propose a trade that could benefit both of our worlds." The goblin delegation exchanged looks, their luminous eyes narrowing with skepticism. The leader's jagged mantle crackled faintly as he replied. "Trade? Ha! Words of offworlders often bring trouble, not benefit. But it is not for me to decide. You will come with us to the caustic throne. The supreme ruler will judge your purpose." His words left no room for debate. "I understand," I said simply, signaling Dax to maintain ship systems in standby mode. The goblins turned as one and motioned for me to follow. They led me away from the platform and toward a hulking beetle-like vehicle that hovered low above the rocky ground. Its surface was encrusted with acid-proof plating, and it thrummed ominously as the delegation climbed aboard. I followed, feeling the slight rumble of the machine as it lifted off, soaring over a sprawling wasteland of acid lakes and jagged spires. The caustic throne came into view through the murky rain. A massive fortress that seemed to rise organically from the scorched land. Its walls were forged from layers of dark stone, etched with glowing green veins of the precious minerals the goblins harvested. Streams of acidic runoff cascaded down from the peaks like molten waterfalls, hissing and smoking as they pooled into trenches below. The air felt heavier here, oppressive with the weight of authority. We disembarked at an entrance flanked by colossal goblin statues, their stony eyes lit from within by the same faint glow as the minerals. My escorts moved with practiced haste, guiding me into the fortress's cavernous interior. The walls pulsed softly with a bioluminescent glow, and the floor beneath my boots was slick, as though carved from polished obsidian. Finally we entered the main hall, a cathedral-like chamber where the air vibrated with a low resonant hum. The supreme ruler's throne loomed at the far end, raised high atop a jagged dais of dark stone and molten green crystal. It was as though the planet itself had sculpted this place, a testament to power forged under harsh, unforgiving conditions. Seated on the throne was the supreme ruler, the figure I'd glimpsed in the ship's initial scans. Her presence was magnetic, a warrior in ornate armor that gleamed with the same acid-resistant metals I had seen on her people, though hers bore intricate carvings of ancient symbols. Her fiery hair cascaded down her back like a living flame, and a crystalline mark shimmered on her forehead, glowing faintly as though alive. She rose slowly, the chamber falling into an eerie silence as her piercing gaze fixed on me. Her voice when it came was both commanding and sharp, as if honed by years of hardship. You come from beyond the stars, and yet you stand before me unscathed by this cruel world. Why? I stepped forward, mindful of the eyes that watched my every move. Supreme Ruler, I began, my voice steady despite the weight of the moment. I am Captain Elara Voss, an explorer from a distant world. I come seeking to forge an understanding between your people and mine. I bring an offer of trade, of knowledge, and a chance to create a bond that spans the stars. She tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable. Trade, you say? Her tone dripped with skepticism. Many have come before you, promising much but leaving ruin in their wake. Why should I trust your words? I met her gaze unflinching. Because I do not seek to take or to exploit. I seek to learn, to understand your people's struggles, your strengths, and to offer what aid I can in return. You are a ruler of resilience, of strength born from adversity. My world has much to gain by learning from your wisdom. And perhaps, I can offer something to benefit yours. The Supreme Ruler was silent for a long moment, her gaze boring into me as though searching for cracks in my resolve. Finally, she let out a low hum, her lips curling faintly. Not quite a smile but something close. Your words are bold, Captain Voss. Bold words can either break or build great empires. She gestured with a gauntlet hand. You will remain as my guest. I will decide soon enough whether you speak with truth or deceit. With that, she returned to her throne, and the delegation motioned for me to follow them to another chamber. The Supreme Ruler's challenge lingered in the air like the hiss of acid rain against stone. I had made my plea, but earning her trust would take far more than words alone. Seated within the grand chamber of the caustic throne, I found myself across a polished stone table, its surface alive with faint green veins of energy that pulsed in rhythm with the fortress itself. The Supreme Ruler, her imposing form wreathed in the faint glow of her crystalline armor, regarded me with an expression that spoke of tempered curiosity and enduring skepticism. Behind her, banners etched with swirling symbols shifted faintly in an unseen breeze. Flanking her were two goblin advisors, smaller than their ruler but no less shrewd. One bore a belt weighed down by gleaming mineral shards, each radiating soft energy. The other held what looked like a tablet carved from a slate-like stone, its markings aglow with a strange luminescence. Speak, Captain Voss, the Supreme Ruler intoned, her voice sharp as fractured glass. You claim to offer trade. Tell me, what treasures of your verdant world could a people such as ours desire? I leaned forward, careful to match her gravity while maintaining respect. Supreme Ruler, your world is fierce and unyielding. An existence that has forged your people into masters of survival. Yet, it is clear that the harshness of your environment comes at a price. My world Earth has been blessed with an abundance of natural resources. Fresh waters, lush forests, fertile soil. All elements that could ease the burden your people endure. The Supreme Ruler tilted her head slightly, the crystalline mark on her forehead catching the flickering light. Forests? Soil? What use are such things to a people who walk a land that corrodes all it touches? Speak plainly, Captain. I nodded, prepared for the question. Earth's natural products, plants, herbs, oils and even grains, are not merely tools for survival. Many have medicinal properties that can heal, sustain, and strengthen the body. Your people toil daily beneath acid rains and corrosive winds. Imagine medicines that could quicken recovery, mend wounds, or ease the illnesses caused by your environment. Such resources could bolster your resilience further. Her advisors exchanged glances, their luminescent eyes narrowing with interest. The one with the glowing shards muttered something inaudible before the Supreme Ruler raised a gauntlet hand to silence him. And in return? She asked, her gaze cutting to the core of my proposal. Trade is a blade that cuts both ways, Captain. What do you seek from my world? I reached into a small satchel at my side and withdrew a carefully sealed containment vial. Inside, a faintly glowing fragment pulsed like a heartbeat, an energy signature I had observed on the way here, embedded deep in the planet's jagged spires. The Supreme Ruler's gaze sharpened instantly. This mineral, I began, setting the vial upon the table, is unlike any my people have seen. It holds remarkable properties. Energy that resonates, self-contained and powerful. When refined, I believe it could revolutionize medical research. The ability to store and emit energy in such a controlled way could be a breakthrough for treatments on Earth. Potential cures for diseases, regeneration of tissues, or even extending life itself. The Supreme Ruler's clawed hand hovered over the vial, her eyes fixed upon its hypnotic glow. "You seek Lorithium," she said finally, her voice quieter, though no less imposing. "The lifeblood of our world. It grows in the deep veins of our crust, forged under pressures even my people struggle to endure. We harvest it, we shape it, and we survive because of it." She looked back to me, suspicion flickering in her gaze. "And yet you wish to take it for your own." "Not to take, Supreme Ruler," I corrected gently. "To exchange as equals. I understand the value this resource holds to your people, and I would never seek to diminish that. What I offer in return is not just trade but partnership. Earth has technologies that may help improve the efficiency and safety of your Lorithium mining operations, shielding materials, extraction techniques, or even medical aid for those harmed by the harvesting process." The Supreme Ruler considered my words in silence, her expression unreadable. For a moment I could hear only the soft hum of the chamber, the sizzle of acidic runoff against the fortress walls beyond. Finally she spoke, her voice measured. "Captain Voss, what you propose is no simple arrangement. The trade of Lorithium is sacred. It sustains our people, powers our defenses, and binds us to this harsh world we call home. To part with it, even in exchange, would mean great trust." "I understand, Supreme Ruler," I replied earnestly. "Trust is not built in a day. Let this be the first step. A small trade, a gesture to prove the worth of our partnership. In time, as both our worlds benefit, that trust can grow." She leaned back in her throne, the faint glow of her armor reflecting in her calculating gaze. After a long pause, she inclined her head slightly. "Very well, Captain. I will allow this small exchange. A token trade to test the truth of your words. Bring forth the medicine and seeds you promise, and in return, my people shall offer a fragment of Lorithium for your scientists to study." Her advisors murmured in hushed tones, some clearly unsettled by the decision. But the Supreme Ruler silenced them with a single look. "Know this," she continued, her voice like thunder. "Should you betray this trust, should you take more than was agreed, there will be no refuge for you or your kind in this galaxy." "I would expect nothing less," I replied solemnly. "Trust is earned, Supreme Ruler, and I will see to it that my people honor this agreement." Her sharp gaze lingered on me for another moment before she rose from her throne. "Then let it be done. You will remain as our guest while the preparations are made, and when your ship departs, it shall carry the first threads of this new bond between our worlds." As I bowed in gratitude, a ripple of anticipation passed through me. This was the beginning, tentative, fragile, but filled with possibility. A partnership between two worlds, forged in the crucible of survival, and the promise of shared knowledge. And yet, I knew this was only the first step. The Supreme Ruler's trust was hard-won, and even harder to keep. The road ahead would be treacherous, but for now the door had been opened. "Thank you, Supreme Ruler," I said, my voice steady. "May this be the beginning of something greater than either of us can yet imagine." Escorted by a Goblin delegation, I found myself aboard a rugged transport skimmer, its hull etched with acid scars and mineral dust that hinted at years of toil. The ride was rough, with every bump and turn jolting me as we crossed the volatile terrain. Outside the reinforced viewport, the land stretched like a wounded beast, harsh, unforgiving, and scarred by countless mining operations. Yet despite its hostility, there was a raw, undeniable beauty to it. Acid lakes shimmered like emerald pools beneath dark clouds, and the distant jagged spires rose like natural fortresses, pulsing faintly with veins of Lorithium, the planet's lifeblood. My guide, a gruff Goblin foreman named Merzik, barked over the hum of the engines. "You wish to see where Lorithium is taken? Ha! Prepare yourself, offworlder. It is not for weak eyes or soft lungs." Moments later, the skimmer halted near a vast excavation site. The air was thick with acrid fumes, and the ground trembled beneath my boots as towering machinery churned the crust like titanic beasts. Goblins swarmed the area, clad in crude but effective protective suits. They moved with practiced efficiency, climbing machines, carving the earth, and hauling the glowing mineral in containers shielded by layers of reinforced crystal. The operation was a marvel of ingenuity born from necessity. Massive drills descended deep into the crust, breaking apart stone that hissed with acidic vapor. Once fractured, smaller crews moved in with precision tools to extract the Lorithium clusters, their faint luminescence, a beacon amid the darkness of the churning pit. "This is the Great Rend," Mirzig growled as he gestured to the sprawling scar in the earth. "The veins here are rich but dangerous. Lorithium fights back, you see. Pressure, gas pockets, even explosions. Many goblins have been lost for what we harvest." I nodded solemnly, taking in the grim efficiency of their labor. "And yet your people persevere. What choice is there?" he grunted. "Lorithium is life. It powers our machines, heals our wounded, strengthens our fortress walls." His piercing eyes narrowed beneath his hood. "You claim your world can offer aid. Medicines, you said. Can they help my workers? Can they ease the burns, the sickness?" I looked at the goblins toiling below, their resilience etched into every motion. "Yes," I replied firmly. "Some of Earth's medicines can heal burns and neutralize toxins. Others can bolster your workers against this environment, treating the sicknesses brought on by prolonged exposure." Mirzig studied me, his skepticism warring with something deeper, hope. "Then we shall see, Captain Voss. If your words prove true, the Supreme Ruler may indeed have reason to trust you." The evening air crackled faintly as I arrived back at the caustic throne for the formal dinner, a gathering of the planet's key political and industrial leaders. Goblins from across their society, foremen, guild chiefs, diplomats, and commanders, had assembled in a grand hall deep within the fortress. Massive crystal chandeliers hung overhead, refracting the green glow of Lorithium veins threaded through the walls. It was an odd juxtaposition, brutal architecture softened by an ethereal living light. At the center of the long table sat the Supreme Ruler, her golden armor polished to a sheen, her gaze watchful as ever. Beside her was the chief diplomatic overseer, an elderly goblin with silver-threaded robes and calculating eyes, his role clearly that of mediator in this tense, evolving arrangement. Around them the goblins sat in seats of honor, political and industrial titans whose lives were woven into the trade of their most precious resource. As a gesture of goodwill, I had brought a collection of Earth's finest offerings, crates of preserved fruits, grains, and oils, chosen for their ability to withstand this planet's harsh conditions. The sight of the brightly colored produce had elicited a mix of surprise and curiosity. When the meal began, goblin cooks, who had clearly adapted their techniques to Earth's unfamiliar ingredients, brought forth dishes that were wholly unique. The combination of acid-hardened meats from their planet and sweet, vibrant flavors from Earth was a triumph of fusion. A platter of roasted drakebeast, its meat glazed with citrus honey, was the centerpiece. Nearby, goblins sampled grain-based loaves, slathered with spiced oils that cut through the acrid tang of their usual fare. I raised a small goblet of distilled Lorithium-infused water, a rare honor I'd been told, and offered a toast. "To the strength of your people, Supreme Ruler, and to the harmony we may build between our worlds." The Supreme Ruler inclined her head slightly. "To survival," she replied, her voice carrying through the hall like a bell. "And to alliances that endure." As the meal unfolded, I found myself answering questions from goblin leaders, eager to understand Earth's resources and technologies. Chief Overseer Dralik, the elderly diplomat, peppered me with queries about Earth's medicines. "These tinctures, these remedies you speak of, how quickly do they act? Can they withstand our world's fury?" "They can," I assured him, producing small samples of burn salves and antitoxin vials from a sealed case. "These medicines have been tested in harsh environments on Earth. With refinement, they could be adapted to your needs." Mirzig, the foreman I had met earlier, leaned forward, his expression skeptical but hopeful. "And the grains you brought? You think we can grow them here?" "With care and the right techniques, yes," I replied. "Some plants are resilient, able to grow even in soil thought barren. I will share what knowledge I can." Throughout the evening, I observed how the goblins spoke among themselves. For all their gruff exteriors, they were sharp negotiators, each leader weighing the possibilities of trade, balancing skepticism against opportunity. The Supreme Ruler remained quiet through much of the discourse, listening with an air of quiet authority. At last, as the final dishes were cleared, she stood, and the hall fell silent. "Captain Voss," she began, her voice carrying the weight of her station, "your gifts are accepted, and your words have been heard. My people are not quick to trust, For this world has taught us the cost of misplaced faith. I see the merit in what you propose. We are strong, but strength alone cannot mend broken bodies or feed empty stomachs. She gestured toward the table, where the remnants of Earth's offerings lay. These gifts show promise. Let this night mark the first of many exchanges. We will trade a fragment of Lorithium as agreed, in return for medicines and grains. But know this, if your people betray our trust, no alliance in the stars will shield you from the fury of my world. I understand, Supreme Ruler, I said, bowing respectfully. Trust will be earned, and Earth will honor its word. Her gaze lingered on me for a moment longer before she nodded. Then let it be so. As the gathering dispersed, I felt the first tentative threads of success beginning to take root. The Supreme Ruler had allowed for trade, not as a gift but as a trial, a test of Earth's sincerity. The road ahead would be long, and the balance delicate, but tonight marked the first step. As I left the great hall, Dax's voice crackled softly through my earpiece. Captain, diplomatic ties established. Initial exchange approved. Mission progressing. I smiled faintly, gazing out over the acid-streaked horizon. Let's hope we prove worthy of the trust they've given us. The Goblin engineers worked with relentless precision, their towering machines groaning as they loaded crates of Lorithium, their glowing lifeblood, into the massive transport ship docked within the Caustic Throne's main hangar. The vessel was a marvel of Goblin ingenuity, a hulking fusion of metal and crystalline plating built to withstand the corrosive atmosphere and the deep void of space. Gleaming veins of Lorithium pulsed along its hull, powering shields that shimmered faintly like a translucent green aura. The Supreme Ruler's Council had overseen every detail of the operation. Rows of armored goblins moved like clockwork, preparing for the historic journey to Earth. Among them stood Chief Diplomatic Overseer Dralek, Merzig the Foreman, and other key goblin leaders, selected for their roles in trade, diplomacy, and resource management. It was clear that the Supreme Ruler spared no effort. This was not merely an exchange of goods but the forging of an interstellar partnership. Standing on an observation platform overlooking the bustling hangar, I watched as Dax 47 floated to my side, his photoreceptor blinking. Captain, Dax began, his tone analytical. The transport vessel's energy systems are stabilizing. The goblins are remarkably efficient considering their equipment's rudimentary appearance. Never underestimate a people forged in adversity, I replied. They've thrived in an environment that would burn most worlds to ash. Just then, Overseer Dralek approached, his gnarled hands clasped behind his back. Captain Voss, he rasped, the Supreme Ruler has entrusted me with finalizing our journey's preparations. The transport is ready to leave within 2 planetary cycles. I nodded. Excellent. I'll contact my people to ensure Earth is prepared for your arrival. Dralek's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. See that they are. The Lorithium we send is no mere trade bauble. It is the strength of our people, and we do not part with it lightly. You have my word, I assured him. Your people's resource will be respected and used to its fullest potential, both for our medical research and as a symbol of what our partnership can accomplish. Back aboard the Arbiter's Quest, I activated the long-range comms link, connecting directly to Earth's diplomatic command. Moments later, the holographic form of Ambassador Helena Park, Earth's chief of interstellar diplomacy, flickered to life. Her sharp features were softened only slightly by the faint, blue glow of the transmission. Captain Voss, Ambassador Park greeted, her tone both formal and expectant. Your message indicated significant progress. What is the status of the trade agreement? Ambassador, I began. I'm pleased to report that the Supreme Ruler of this world has agreed to an exchange. A transport ship is being prepared, loaded with a shipment of Lorithium. Based on our early scans, this mineral holds unparalleled energy storage properties and could revolutionize Earth's medical research, treating diseases, regenerating tissue, even extending life expectancy. Park's brow arched slightly, her interest piqued. Impressive. And what do they seek in return? They have requested Earth's medicines, specifically those that treat burns, toxins, and respiratory illnesses caused by their harsh environment. They also require agricultural support, grains, seeds, and the means to cultivate more resilient crops. I paused. They're a people of resilience, Ambassador. but their survival comes at great cost. Our resources could transform life here. Park folded her hands, considering the implications. And you trust them to uphold their side of the agreement? Yes, I replied firmly. The Supreme Ruler may be cautious, but she is a leader of honor. They view this trade as a test of trust, and so should we. Park nodded slowly. Very well, Captain. Inform their leadership that Earth will honor its commitment. We will send a team of agricultural experts and mining engineers along with the first shipment. The engineers will share safer and more efficient extraction methods, while the agricultural specialists will begin adapting Earth's crops to their soil. She leaned forward, her gaze sharpening. This partnership has the potential to reshape both our worlds, but it must be handled delicately. You'll ensure everything proceeds smoothly. You have my word, Ambassador, I said with conviction. Good. I'll inform the Council. Safe travels, Captain. We look forward to welcoming our guests. The hologram flickered out, and I turned to Dax, who hovered expectantly nearby. Dax, transmit Earth's agreement to the Supreme Ruler. Let them know we're ready to receive their delegation. Transmission queued and sent, Captain, Dax confirmed. Preparations on Earth will commence immediately. The next morning, I stood alongside the Supreme Ruler and her council as the massive transport ship, christened the Grascal's Might, prepared for launch. Its engines hummed with raw power, the Lorithium veins along its hull glowing like a beacon of possibility. The Supreme Ruler turned to me, her fiery hair catching the acidic light. Captain Voss, you spoke of trust, and now we have placed a sliver of it in your hands. Do not squander it. I will not, I replied solemnly. Earth will honor this trade, and our people will work to help yours. She regarded me for a moment longer before speaking again. Know this, my delegation travels to your world not as beggars but as equals. Treat them with respect, and this alliance may thrive. Betray them, and no force in the stars will spare you my wrath. I inclined my head. They will be received with the respect they deserve. With that, the Supreme Ruler gave a single sharp gesture. Klaxons echoed through the hangar as the Grascal's Might began to rise, its massive bulk straining against the pull of the planet's gravity. The glowing veins of Lorithium shone brighter as the engines surged, propelling the ship skyward. Goblins across the hangar watched in solemn silence as their most prized resource, an offering of survival and trust, left their world for the first time. Dax, I said quietly as the transport disappeared into the clouds. Plot our own course to Earth. We'll be traveling alongside them. Understood, Captain. Course plotted and engines primed. As the Arbiter's quest followed the Goblin vessel into the dark expanse of space, I couldn't help but marvel at the weight of the moment. Two worlds so vastly different were now bound by a fragile promise. A promise that could bring salvation to one and understanding to the other. The real journey was only beginning.